And we're back with ckscast number 8. And today we got to talk about a topic called, a word called Hoeflation. Okay, so this is a word I learned right at the end in December 2023. I'm outside this bar called Robin's where we do In Your Face on Thursdays. And these two guys come past, and I know them both from comedy audiences. And it's a Friday night. They're like out for the night. Like, yeah, we're out. And I'm like, yo, guys, you out looking for the ladies. And they're like, no, it's too hard these days. You know, the problem is Hoeflation. And I'm like, what the hell is Hoeflation? They go, well, it's the fact that that men today, young men, have to work 20 times harder to get a woman that's worth 20 times less. How retarded has the human race become? I mean, no, I'm not supposed to use the word retarded, but it's retarded. I hope that doesn't get me struck from YouTube again. But, you know, so I said to them, dudes, like, what the hell? Look, just bring your Friday night energy, go out, have fun, do what you're going to do. And maybe some lady will, you know, take a liking to you, take a shine, you know, just be yourselves, be cool, be dudes, be funny, be just, yeah. And I mean, this whole thing is just, it's just ridiculous because, okay, so I don't want to get into making like some red pill, like whatever, all this kind of stuff that's going on the internet. Like fundamentally, I think men and women, or masculine and feminine, those concepts exist and we need each other. Masculine, there's this beautiful symbol, the yin yang symbol, and that symbol, that doesn't really need anything more said. If you understand what that symbol signifies, it tells you the whole story because it's these two colors in motion, in a permanent state of motion. And there's a little bit of one in the other. So there's a little bit of masculine in the feminine and a little bit of feminine in the masculine. And that concept even updates to these days where we've got, you know, LGBTQ, whatever the hell's going on. And, you know, because you like the definition of masculine is not a fixed thing, or feminine, it's a flowing thing, and there can be some of one in the other. So, and we need each other. There's a balance that we give each other. So, and it's what I find so sad about the type of conversations happening on YouTube and online today is it's all like them, the enemy, the men, the women, and it's got so ridiculous. And it's just one of these things. It's divide and rule. So there's a system that the Romans invented. The British use it very effectively in India to be able to rule a country of millions and millions of people with like 100,000 troops. And divide and rule, the same as the basic principle is you split people into groups and get them fighting against each other. So what the British used to go, they go to one like local king in India and go, oh, would you like some of these guns? And then they go to the king in the neighboring valley and go, oh, that guy over there has got guns now. You should have some guns too. And then they'd fight each other. And the British would be like, oh, very good job, guys, fighting each other. And that's how that system works. And the same thing is playing out on the internet, I think, with just like all the different things that we're at each other's throats about, trying to cancel each other and arguing about and blah, blah, blah. The other thing that I think is ridiculous is this whole idea of a dating market and your value on the dating market. It's like, we're talking about human beings. We are not slaves. We don't, like, you cannot value a human life, period. And this idea that you have a value, yeah, there's elements, it's a reflection of the truth. I mean, if you're a hot piece of ass, then you're going to get tons of guys chasing after you as a woman. And if you're like 6'8" and you got this six pack and, you know, money and whatever else, yeah, that's going to attract certain type of women. But for most people, none of that stuff really applies. And it's a tragic waste of human life to be permanently thinking about your value on the dating market. It's not economics. I'd love to find out who actually came up with this crap, because I think basically it was someone like, oh, I could use terms from economics to describe dating. And it's just all so messed up to the point where you have a term like Hoeflation. And yeah, there's elements of that reflect the state of the world today. It's like women have gained a lot of additional power and independence, and that's a great thing. And plus the nature of jobs has changed. So, men used to be like, I chop wood and therefore I am a man. And now we don't need that. But actually, we're all human beings in the end, and we've all got a function. We've all got stuff we can do. If you know what you want to do with your life, wonderful. If not, try doing something useful to someone. That's, for example, having kids is useful, because I have to be there for my kids, at least for a few more years. So I don't get to die. I don't get to, I can't just abuse myself or be miserably depressed. I don't really even get to be depressed with them around, because, I don't want to inflict that on them. But anyway, the point, though, is, I kind of talk about this kind of stuff with my son. So I'm going to share a few thoughts, maybe more for young men. I think maybe, young ladies might learn something from this as well, because I see it in Zurich. I see how women are desperately disappointed by the state of men. And I mean, for me, I'm like, I'm nothing special, but because I've got an attitude and some confidence, it makes me like on the dating market, I am maybe an alpha. I don't know. I'm not, I don't care. But the thing is, it's just like I'm killing it in this city, because men are just so confused. I have this bit where I was saying, I was walking around Zurich, and there were these group of 8 guys sat around a table. One of them was going like, I think my girlfriend's cheating on me. And his friend opposite goes like, oh my God, how does that make you feel? And as I heard this, I'm like, I want to flip that table. What the hell has happened to these guys? Like, this is not Fight Club. This is like Hug Club. Like, the first rule of Hug Club is like, have a good cry and express your feelings. And okay, maybe someone's going to tell me I'm misogynistic and outdated with my views, but which is fair. I'm 50, so, but and I'm remembering a world before all of this stuff. But I mean, fundamentally, it's just like, yes, it's a good thing that men are able to communicate and share their feelings and that kind of stuff. But then there's like making that your identity, and like, I'm a caring man that shares, and it's like, oh, go away. It's just like the way we used to do it as dudes is when someone was feeling like shit, what would happen is they'd say, what, my girlfriend's cheating on me. And then someone would make some awful joke. And then the dude would be like, oh, you asshole. And then, but would begin to laugh. And through that laughter was the therapy. That was just like, like life is shit, and and it is what it is, and I can live with it, and and that's kind of like how men and dudes used to be, and you with your bros, with your mates, whatever you want to call them, you share in a way where you share the feeling, we all get it, and then you crack jokes, and you talk shit about your ex for a while, but you get it out of your system, and then you're like, all right, okay, now it's back to life. But yeah, anyway, I don't know where I'm going with that, but the thing is, here's some of the things. Like, I think about this also from a dad's point of view, and how what I tell my son about this stuff. And I worry a little bit that I might have given him values that he's not going to find anyone anymore that isn't a complete mess, because he's not a mess about this stuff. I've told him to be respectful towards him, respectful towards people in general, but also I've told him the nature of some of the things. And here's some of the things that they don't really express, I think, very well. So one of the things you hear a lot as a man, as you're young, is that, oh, women are more emotional. Now, when I was young, like in my head, because men tend to just, think about one or two things at a time, I would just tag that as, oh, that means women are just somehow, a little bit disabled. I'm not going to use the R word again. They're not really as smart as we are. But that's actually not what it means. And you hear it many times, and I would always dismiss it. But the thing that I realized later, and this is the stuff that, old man brain comes in, is that emotion can be a language. I mean, if you watch two ladies communicate, comics make a lot of fun of women because they go like, women can't tell stories. But if you watch two women that meet at a cafe and they're telling a story, the story may be almost impossible to follow, but that's not the point. The point is the emotions. They're just sharing the emotion, and they exchange emotion. And when you understand that, then, that's one key element to knowing, how to meet someone that could be. I kind of bring this from the wrong end here, actually. One of the things, but once you can, anyway, let me finish that thought. Once you have some awareness of the fact that the emotion can be like a language, when you're flirting with someone, you're trying to impress them with your stupid stories or whatever you're doing. But also, seduction is a two-way thing, and she wants to have the feeling she's seducing you too. And okay, this is going to get a bit edgy now. And luckily, I've only got a small following because I'll probably get cancelled for saying this. But as a dude, all you got to do in a conversation is just sometimes just lean back and check in with your balls. And if your balls are getting a little bit of a tingle, like, oh my God, this woman, I'm getting excited about her, then you just got to enjoy that feeling. You don't have to then be a creep. Don't be a creep. But the point is that you feel good about that as a reaction to, the conversation with her is something that she's going to be able to detect. Women have this. Yeah, it's just a different language, and it hasn't been well communicated. It's very hard to describe in rational terms. All women get this, and as young men, we're just too dumb to see it. We just completely ignore it. It's there. I think another thing is simply if you're trying to meet someone, stop trying to meet someone. Like there's a weird paradox is that if you're, every guy's had this or everyone's had this as applies to anyone. When you're single and you get desperate and you start prowling, looking for someone, you guarantee no one's ever going to be interested. It's only when you just say like, you got an idea of what you want. I really like to meet someone that I have a good connection with, for example, but don't chase it. Just do your life, live your life and enjoy it. And only in those circumstances will you meet anyone worth meeting. And I'm saying this as I've got kids. I've got over 15 years of, actually it's probably about 18 years of different relationships I was in throughout my life. And and it always comes at times where it's unexpected. You can never and this is a key thing, actually. A friend of mine told me years and years ago, and it took me years to understand it. He was kind of tuned into this stuff. He said, what you have to understand is that women are the choosers. So if you go out to a place, a party, a club or whatever, you may as a guy be like, oh, I like her, I'm going to go and chase her. No, it's never... You don't get who you want. You get the woman that chose you. And now how do you know if she chose you? She'll show you subtle signs, and you've got to learn how to read those signs. That's why I'm saying they're more emotional. They'll start flicking their hair behind their head. Look at this beautiful hair. I go, start pushing it behind their ear. They may be talking to a friend over here, but they'll position their body to face you. And, there'll be these subtle signs. And then all you got to do is just when you see this stuff happening, and you probably don't because you're stuck in your head with your stupidity. But if you notice that stuff happening, then just go over and say hi. And she'll be happy you're talking to her because you got the message. And it's a weird paradox is that, you know, I know in some countries, like in Canada, women are very forward and it's normal for women to approach men. I think the nature culturally, I'm not sure if this is nature or culture, who cares, is it generally like men, they say men have to approach women, but it's the woman that chose the guy first. That's a key point. The other thing is, as a dude, you got to have confidence. Like the whole body thing and yeah, sure, that can help. If you've worked out your body, you're looking great, all of that kind of stuff, you're well dressed, you smell good. Women are very sensitive to smell. All of that stuff kind of matters. But in the end, none of it does, because what matters most of all is self-confidence. If you can be looking like a complete mess, overweight, whatever it is, and if you're walking down the street like you own that street, someone was going to look at you like, this motherfucker, I need to figure out why he dares to act so confident. And, you know, it's a whole train of things. I mean, that's kind of an idea from a guy called Patrice O'Neill, and now we're getting into Red Pill space. Patrice O'Neill, great comedian. I've listened to everything that I could ever find of him, and there's a show he did called The Black Phillip Show, and listen to it if you ever listen to it with extreme caution. But there's deep, profound wisdom in there. But also, if you're an idiot, which you are, if you're a male under 30 or under 40 or even under 50, it's probably, you may take it literally and become a misogynistic idiot. And don't be that. But anyway, Hoeflation. Yeah, what other tips can I give? Man, tips for how to fix this whole mess. I mean, what I tell my son is, you know, I tell him kind of old school stuff. I tell him like, listen, you don't want to get married until you're 35, and you probably want to marry someone who's a little bit younger than you, like 5 years younger. Now, the thinking behind that is twofold. And the first part is simply, as a guy, you want to get your stuff done in life, whatever it is. And, you know, I had kids a little bit too early, at 30, and as my daughter was born. And it was very frustrating to me because I was just getting to a certain path in my career in software development. I was doing a lot of writing at that point, and it kind of killed all of that stuff. I didn't really know where I was going with it. Probably I wouldn't have gone anywhere particularly useful with what I was doing at that time, but still, I felt very frustrated for the first 5 years or so of having my kids around because I hadn't done my thing, the thing that was like, yes, I've done something. Now, I think it takes about 35 till you really kind of can figure that stuff out for yourself. And which is then you like, hopefully you got a bit of money saved by there, you got some stuff going on in your life, and then you can start thinking about, you know, finding a person. Why am I saying someone a bit younger? Well, I think it's generally a healthy thing because what you're gonna know is actually the movie to watch there is White Men Can't Jump, the original version. I think they're making a stupid remake, but the original version of that, there's some wisdom in there about you respect the woman. She knows stuff you don't know. Watch that movie because there's some deep insights in there. But fundamentally, and this is something I actually looked into because the fundamental is that women mature a lot faster than men. And I've seen this with my kids. Like I do a whole comedy bit about this, but watching my daughter grow up compared to my son, they're only 2.5 years different in age. But like she right now, I don't argue with her anymore because she understands me better than me. And that's a scary place to be in. I don't get into arguments with her because when she goes on the attack, it's like, whoa, this is some scary shit now. But the speed that which she's developed as a human being, you know, she's competent and able to handle many many aspects of life. She doesn't do it all, but still she's come a long way. And, you know, she can handle her finances. She can handle getting work. She knows how to deal with people. She eats sensibly. She gets decent sleep. She's not doing crazy dumb shit. My son, on the other hand, like boys, we're just single-minded. And that's our strength, but also our weakness. We're simple, not stupid, but simple up to a certain age. And I think it's probably connected to testosterone, is that you just get single-mindedly focused. And a lot of that energy, you know, young dudes are putting into gaming. I did that a long time myself. Like, gaming's been around as long as I have. And, you know, there are various games I spent way too much time on. I loved the original Total War series. I was big on strategy games, Civilization, and all these kind of things, but which are complete time sinks. But, you know, in the absence of really knowing what I wanted to do with my life, I would just need to put my brain on a single thing and really focus on it. But actually, after being a parent and seeing how my kids grew up and how much faster my daughter grew up, and it's just hardwired. It's not that she got some kind of special treatment. I actually looked into this and I found an article about it. You can Google this stuff. But apparently, men do not hit full mental and emotional maturity until the age of 43. And I think that's also like testosterone levels for men start falling around 40. And it's really, and the joke I do, like at the age of 43, with my test, it was like a fog was lifted from my eyes. And I was like, oh my God, women are people too. I had no idea. So I do a joke about that, and I'm not sure how solid the science is behind this. This is done by, you know, some sociologists, I think, and interviews, and it's probably, you know, it could be bogus, but still, I think the fundamental idea is true. You can see it that basically around 32, like women have already figured everything out by then. And, you know, and it probably relates to, like, you know, the fact that they may have children by then and they're a mom and blah, blah, blah. And as guys, like, there's, especially now where there's less pressure to challenge yourself when you're young as a man, that, you know, you can just live an easy life. You can stay in your parents' basement and play games until you're in your 30s. And so, you know, I know a lot of men in Zurich that are still, like, you know, between 30 and 40, but who they are as people is still not very mature. And so, you know, but fundamentally, it's somehow hardwired. So this goes back to why I'm telling my son, like, maybe wait until you're 35, until you want to get married and have kids and this kind of stuff, and find someone a little bit younger than you. And the reason for that is that there's a higher chance that she'll respect him at some level. And, you know, he's only got then 5 to 8 years before he hits full mental and emotional maturity, which is like the age for, you know, your kids, like, well, as a dad, you start to play a bigger role in your kid's life from about 6 plus. Up until that, they're very kind of dependent on their mums. But from about 6, you start to be able to do more and more things with them, more interesting stuff that you actually enjoy, like sports or hiking or whatever it is you're doing. But yeah, so I guess to wrap up, Hoeflation. I mean, I still find that so ridiculous. In the end, like, this Hoeflation thing is some bullshit. Focus on being an amazing human being. Figure out what you want to do with your life, dudes. I'm talking to you guys. Figure out what you're passionate about, what you enjoy doing. Do hobbies, focus on your career, focus on sport, do the stuff read books, push yourself, keep pushing yourself, find out, build yourself like a circle of friends that you meet regularly. These are your bros, and make sure your bros are people that you respect. Ideally, the people you're spending time with are people where you look up to them in some way. There's something about them that you admire. They're not just like doing bullshit. That's what you kind of want to aim for. But yeah, anyways, that's my whole speech on Hoeflation. Hoeflation in the end to me is just another excuse for many. What's the point? Like, it's hopeless anyway. No, the difference is that women have got free and liberated, and they're using that space effectively. Good for them. But that doesn't mean, like in the implied thing of Hoeflation is that back in the day we didn't need to make an effort. Well, they're a bunch of useless dudes. But the same thing applied back in the day is that dudes that were actually doing stuff with their life were going to have no problems when it comes to relationships. Anyway, so I'm going to just wrap up. I'm going to play a little bit of my comedy because I have a whole bit about this related to my kids, and I thought that'd be a nice way to end this episode. So here we go. This was from last summer. Actually, I come out of hospital. I'll tell that story another time. Let's just play it.
It's actually crazy, like for me as a man, like watching, because the old one, she's 20, she's a girl, and the younger one's 17. And watching like a boy and a girl growing up, it's insane for me as a man because girls grow up so much faster. It's insanity. Like if I died in a ridiculous e-scooter accident, my daughter, she would have been okay. She would have like got a job, got a flat. Maybe at 30 she needs some therapy, but she can afford to pay for it. So that's a good combination, I feel. But my son, if I died in that e-scooter accident, he would have been like, huh? Where are my socks? It's really... And it's insane. It's crazy for me now because I'm not making fun of him because I know I was as dumb as he was back then. And so I actually looked up, and I looked up some science on this. I found this article in a magazine called True Science, so it must be true. It said men only reach full mental and emotional maturity at the age of 43. Now, if you listen very closely to what happened there, all the women here laughed, and then all the men were like, And it's insane to me now because I'm 49, I'm like a 6-year-old. I get it now, ladies. It's fucking, for years, I didn't know that women are running a fucking conspiracy. They're like, these idiots don't understand. We can do whatever the fuck they want, and I'll just go, It's insanity. But you know what? Because women get there about 32, so it's like 11-year difference, which is actually kind of weird because now when I see like a 20-year-old couple, I'm like, wait a second, that's like a 25-year-old who has a strange love of 13-year-old boys. That has become really dark for me now, ladies. And the other day I'm at this cafe, okay, and I'm listening to these two women talking about their boyfriends, and one of them is like, oh, he's so immature. But he's so cute. I mean, that's wrong. That's not okay. And then she goes like, and we were having sex and he could not find my clitoris. I'm like, why are you trying to make a child find your clitoris? That's not. And then she's like, and then I had to fake an orgasm, of course. And I'm like, okay, that's nice because he's a child. The children need to live in a fantasy world. That's how that works. But,
all right, that's it. So my kids just came back from a trip, so I got to stop here. All right, that was ckscast number 8.